Good afternoon or evening it is for me. Evening.
You know what? You are a man now because you're a little busy of few but really pithy tweets, and yours was just hashtag Benedict Donald. That's it. That's the tweet. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. No more need be said. I mean, we talked about his treason back with Trump, Russia, and this is on top of that and trying to overthrow the United States government. I just can't even. I sometimes think of you and how you process this with as much as you already know and have warned us about.
You know, it does get a little frustrating when you consider that I've written 4 books about it. You know, it's unfortunately this current book, the new book, They Want to Kill Americans, is going to be a seminal work. And it's going to be a seminal work for the wrong, horrible reasons. I was on Michael Steele's podcast, whom we all love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, he said, what's it going to take? What's it going to take for these people to stop talking, acting, and behaving the way they are? And unfortunately, it's going to take a mass murder event, a situation where these armed insurgents go too far and they carry out an act of terrorism the way Timothy McVeigh did. But, we're in a world where in the Republican Party, a person like Timothy McVeigh would be offered an internship, for Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. We are in a place where extremism, terrorism, and threat of violence is a standard now that is expected from their political class.
Malcolm, you famously were a Republican. You were sort of Colin Powell Republican. What do you make of what a lot of people are calling the death of the Republican Party yesterday in Wyoming? I mean, Liz Cheney, as was expected, lost big.
Yeah, by 40 points, according to Joe Walsh was saying. This wasn't just a loss. This was a loss by 40 points. Her name became completely radioactive. Mm-hmm. There is no Republican Party. That is just a word that they bandy about now. This is the Trump Party. And, a few years ago, there was a lot of talk about him changing the name and, changing the symbol to a lion and calling it the Trump Party. And, I would think that it would actually be, it would be in his interest to go ahead and do that, so that we clarify that there are no Republicans anymore. When I was a Republican way back when, we were just to the upper right quadrant of the XY axis, Colin Powell and I, God bless him, in heaven, we're so far down to the far left. Now, Ronald Reagan would be considered a, Joe Manchin liberal.
Yeah.
Progressive. So what's happened to that party is that it is completely disintegrated. And it's become a cult of one individual.
Yeah.
And I write extensively in the book that these people have said numerous times, hundreds of times, they are willing to kill for him.
Yeah. Malcolm, as the guy that warned us, I don't know how many books ago, in the Plot to Hack America about Trump being a traitor with Russia, what do you make of, on RT, them openly crowing that they've already seen the nuclear secrets, that they've already seen this intelligence? We don't know what's true, do we? But you wouldn't be surprised.
That's a lot. That is just psychological warfare that they're playing.
Right.
But, they're now calling him our agent Trump, right? Openly saying that he works for them, advocating for his return to power, saying how it will help them crush Ukraine. They're not lying now. They are not. The Russians are making it clear that they have his back. And by extension, they are going to co-opt as many as 70 million Americans.
Right.
We'll start thinking. I mean, if you think about it, it's strategic, information operations long ball that they could, in another year or so, completely crush the support amongst the Republicans of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And thus work to defund Ukraine if they take back power this November. It's incestuous.
But Malcolm, even for you, I mean, espionage. The fact that we're talking about a former president is under investigation for espionage. This is your area of expertise, intelligence and spying. And the fact that he has had this for this long. I mean, the story, I don't know if you saw today, in the weeks leading up to the FBI's search of Trump's home, Merrick Garland debated whether or not to sign off on the warrant. He waited, he met with Justice Department FBI officials for weeks before making the decision to personally approve the warrant. One former AG said Garland is extremely careful. I don't think he considers politics at all, but I do think he recognizes the seriousness of actions against a former president. I guess my question would be: isn't there more urgency with getting our nuclear secrets back? Are you afraid he's already sold them? I'm just
forget that this man was president. Forget that.
Right.
All right. By being elected president, he was given trust in the highest secrets of America by the American public that elected him. Mm-hmm. All right. I held a top secret SCI, Special Compartmented Information, Special Access Program. That's each layer above top secret. When we would lose our clearances, we would get generic top secret. Yeah. That's how high our average secret clearance was, top secret clearance was. And the White House has a completely different level, the National Command Authority level, which is those secrets only the President of the United States and the immediate national security staff see. And I've been on National Command Authority directed missions where our collection was the only thing that was being appointed, that was only going straight to the White House and the White House Situation Room, where hundreds of us could die at a time if this mission were compromised, hundreds of people. And, you have the confidence that it's going to the President of the United States. Now we have this guy who has information that was being withheld from the United States government, and that it related to nuclear weapons. How many? If you Google my name or if you go to Twitter and you search at Malcolm Nance, Espionage Act, it comes up about 50 times.
Yeah.
During the entire Trump fiasco. But this is. I'm going to be serious now. You all know how serious I get. This is a grave danger to the United States. My guess is that it was nuclear weapons schematics or outlines to give to Saudi Arabia or to sell to Saudi Arabia to make them a nuclear power.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Mike Flynn was in early trying to get Russian nuclear reactors sold to Saudi Arabia, all of these guys. But here's the kicker, Stephanie. Someone went and got these documents, signed out these documents, registered these documents, because you got to sign for them. You don't just hand them to you. We know who those were handed to. And then they were shown to the president, explained to the president, and he decided, along with some people, that these were the things they would keep. Every effing one of them needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
All right. Reality Winner went to jail for 5 years for one piece of paper, and it wasn't even decent intelligence.
But I mean,
this is grave danger to America.
But in this amount of time, that's what I'm saying. Aren't you afraid that he has already done it? And I don't know what territory we're in there when we find out, and if we are be able to prove that he has sold these secrets to God knows which enemy.
They may not be to an enemy. Could be to an ally. The ones I'm very interested in is the notes on Macron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did he need stuff on Macron? Right.
I come from NSA world before I worked human intelligence. I worked signals intelligence for most of my career. That's listen to your phone calls. And that's the sort of thing where you can get incredibly embarrassing information about an individual. And they say some of those documents were signals intelligence from NSA, and you could almost hear him see, Macron's girlfriend or mistress or some relationship, and him banking that and keeping it like a piece of blackmail information.
Right. And it would be on one of our allies, right? Because he's a traitor.
Of course, he hates our allies. He loves Putin.
Yeah.
The man, I'm going to say it, I said this years ago. He is a walking, you can use the term traitor rhetorically here. Because we're not in a time of war with Russia or China or Saudi Arabia. But if this turns out that he was going to blackmail people with this, and eventually we're going to find out the subject.
Yeah.
We are going to find out what the general subject matter of this is. But if it was like the W-67, airdropped atomic bomb, then treason is the only word applicable here.
Yeah.
The man was probably trying to sell it for $5 or $10 billion.
Yeah. And there's human sources, right? It's not just methods. There's human sources. I mean, they're saying that beyond, they're going to have to do a damage assessment, right? The intelligence community. Talk to us about what that entails.
Well, what it does is that we go back to not just the documents that he had, but all the documents that all of his staff had access to. We had this discussion at one point.
Can I just ask quickly? That's not something that is an alarm of some sort in Ukraine that you need to listen to, is it?
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Front door to our wonderful space. But to be quite honest, this is one of those circumstances where I said this 3 years ago when we thought Jared Kushner had spoken to the Russians. And I said this on Hardball, I remember. Everybody in that White House needs to be scrubbed. I mean, the FBI needs to go through all of them. Maybe there are other documents missing. Maybe they all thought they could have blackmail documents. The boss was doing it. Maybe Mark Meadows has it. Maybe the other people have it. All I know is this, is that every person there is a potential spy for a foreign power.
Charlie Brown's teacher is on the phone for you. Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. All right, I don't know what that is, but it's probably something we're not supposed to hear.
Someone said the waffles are ready.
The waffles are ready, Malcolm. All right.
Did we mess up here?
No, we hear someone in the background.
Let us get...
there's Russian, don't worry. Ukrainian.
If ever, on the attack on the FBI building in Ohio, if ever there was a time to buy, they want to kill Americans, it is now. Let's get this to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. We're already popping it up the chart. Malcolm, can you hang on? I have to ask you something important. Can you just wait? Okay.